Okay, I've got something for you. The new parts have been fitted to the car. The simulation numbers are good, so look forward to your feedback. Check out the details.
Hello everyone and welcome to part 7 of my F1 2016 career mode here in Montreal at the home of the Canadian Grand Prix, the circuit de Gilles Villeneuve on the Ile Notre Dame. As you can see on the left hand side, Sauber and Force India have brought upgrades to this race, as well as us. As you saw, we've upgraded our engine yet again. As you can see in the performance index, you can see what we've upgraded and where we stack in terms of it. Sauber, of course, coming off the back of a sensational podium in the Monaco Grand Prix. If you, spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't checked out any of the previous episodes in this series, click the card in the top right hand corner. That'll be the series playlist so far, and you'll be able to see what has happened so far in this career mode. Just as a disclaimer, when I was recording this, on the night of recording, my laptop and my Elgato software were having a bit of a meltdown, and basically, I didn't realise it, but all my Elgato settings reset, so it thought I was recording off an Xbox One at 1080p at 60 FPS, and my laptop doesn't have the processing power to do 1080p 60 FPS, so I lost the whole of practice and virtually the whole of qualifying. As you can see, here's what happened in Q3. Q1 was full wets to inters. Q2 we tried to get through on the super softs. We're about 14th on the super softs, so we went for the ultra softs. That got us through. And in Q3 we only had one run. It was a bit of a scrappy lap. There was certainly a lot more time to find out there, and it's only put us P6 on the grid. Our teammate has taken pole position. So Ricciardo on fire here in Canada, where he won his first Grand Prix, of course, in 2014. As you can see, here are all the resource points we've collated from practice and qualifying, so you can see how it went. Track acclimatization was perfect. Tyre wear test, we failed, but we got very close to green. As you can see in the rivalry, Rosberg absolutely wiped the floor with us with his front row. And in back to practice and in qualifying pace, we got purple, so we did all the team objectives. So we've got a healthy bank of resource points now. Driver position, that hasn't gone great, really, but here's our session goals.
Hey, how are you? I have some information on the race goals you should keep in mind.
So the usual bog standard stuff. Beat Rosberg, beat Ricciardo, and get top 5, I think that says. So we'll just have to see how that goes. I'm aiming for a podium in this race. That was my aim going into this Grand Prix, especially starting 6th on the grid. I think we started around 6th in Spain, and we managed to get a podium. So this is, Spain, like Canada, is another strong track for us. As you can see on the left-hand side, I'm just showing you what has happened in terms of what's happened in the weekend so far. See, track acclimatization. I can't speak now. Track acclimatization was perfect. Failed tyre wear, and then qualifying was perfect. I think we are about to do an upgrade on our car as well to bring to the European Grand Prix in Azerbaijan, the inaugural race around the Baku city circuit. We're going to take some drag off the car by redesigning our barge boards, and that's going to take us another step closer to catching Ferrari. It's now time to go to the Canadian Grand Prix with our commentator for this intro, David Croft.
There is, as I look out of my commentary box window, a very large and very excited crowd here today, eagerly anticipating another memorable race. Lewis Hamilton took his maiden win on this circuit in 2007. Jenson Button came from last place to win here in 2011. And there's certainly no shortage of drama on offer here at the Canadian Grand Prix. If you want flat-out racing, you've come to the right place this weekend, as it's full throttle for 59% of this 2.7-mile circuit, peaking at around 210 miles per hour going into the final chicane. But that speed requires discipline, and there are more than a few close walls here just waiting to punish drivers with a heavy right foot.
Everyone's noticed that you've been leading this team recently. A couple more good results, and you'll be the number 1.
It was a good showing from Red Bull in qualifying, and Daniel Ricciardo starts from pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Rosberg, Hamilton, Felipe Massa, and a Red Bull, Raikkonen, Perez, Button, and Valtteri Bottas.
So, in terms of the strategy, it's going to be a one-stop, although our personalised tyre wear says it's going to be a two-stop going from ultra softs to softs and back to ultra softs. The only mandatory tyre in this race is the softs. Just like the Japanese Grand Prix, there's only one mandatory tyre, which is the soft in this case. In Japan, it would be the hards. But that's a long way away as the Japanese Grand Prix as we start the formation lap now. Bit overcast to start this race, it has to be said, so we need to get some good heat into these ultra softs, try and stop them graining. We did our usual tactic on the formation lap of just backing up, an absolute treat. By the time we got down to the turn 10 hairpin, these guys had all been sat on the grid for a couple of seconds, so these guys are going to have stone cold brakes and tyres. So we'll see if it's going to work in this race, as we now got 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights, look but never stare, dump the clutch and away we go. We've had a bit of a poor reaction to the lights, so we're not really as close as we'd like to be. Thundering down into turn 1, we've dived up the inside, made contact with Massa. We haven't spun though, so we've just about got away with it, but we've in fact helped Massa get past Sebastian Vettel and up into 3rd place. We are going around the outside of Lewis Hamilton, who's not had the best of starts. He's fallen down into 6th place as Ricciardo and Rosberg are going side by side up ahead. Ricciardo's been putting it into the wall, it's held up Massa and Vettel. We're going to go around the outside of turn 5, up the inside of all these guys for fighting for second with our teammate Ricciardo. We get so close to touching through the chicane, and somehow we haven't made contact on the exit as well, as we're now in the slipstream going down towards turn 8 and 9. We've got the inside line, we sweep past Daniel Ricciardo, go up the inside and take 2nd place in this race. Now can we catch Nico Rosberg in the Mercedes? That's going to be the big question now, as we are going to have to defend from Ricciardo, who's dropped from pole position down to 3rd place in this race. It's been a poor opening lap for our Aussie teammate, as we do have proximity errors there. We do have damage to our front left hand side of our front wing, as we quickly tell our engineer not to change our front wing at the pit stop. I think that was from the contact with Felipe Massa. I don't think we brushed a wall, so it's interesting how we've got damage on the wrong side of the car. But anyway, we're now in the slipstream of Rosberg. We've had a great exit out of the turn 13-14 chicane, as we're now up the inside. Rosberg's turned into with bang tyres. We take the lead, and we've been spun. We've been spun at turn 2. Ricciardo has smashed Rosberg, and we caused an absolute car park at the 2nd corner. Yellow flags, and now a safety car has been deployed in this race. It's going to be the status quo though in terms of it, because Rosberg and Ricciardo are still in this race. And as you can see, Hamilton actually had a great launch off the line there, but he just had nowhere to go. He got closed out by Massa, as we end up going 3 wide into turn 1, which is why we had contact with Massa, because he had Vettel on his outside. Hamilton drops to 6th then, and it was really unfortunate for Hamilton, because he seemed to have a lightning launch off the line, but we'll just see how it, it's just one of those things, as these guys all get really close together on the exit of turn 4, and it allows us to have a go up the inside of Daniel Ricciardo. As you can see now on the onboard of Nico Rosberg, who actually started 3rd in this race. He has a great launch, goes up the inside of Ricciardo into turn 1, gets so close on the apex of turn 1, and has to hang it around the outside of turn 2. Ignore Ricciardo's tyres, they are glitching in this replay camera. He is on ultra softs, not softs. As you can see, Rosberg goes around the outside of turn 3, that goes to the inside. This is where they held each other up. Ricciardo might have just brushed the wall there, and that's how Rosberg took the lead of this race. Here we are on board with our teammate Daniel Ricciardo, and you'll see the glitching tyres. It's almost something I remember from F1 2015. It's the first time I've seen it in this game actually, so that's something Cody's will have to sort out. And it honestly looks like he's got the move done on Rosberg. Rosberg's nowhere to be seen, and then all of a sudden he pops up the inside. Ricciardo does brush the wall and the side pod of Rosberg, and he falls all the way down into what will be 3rd place. And we're on board with the front wing of Sebastian Vettel now going into turn 1. I was messing around with some replay cameras, as you see he gets a thud from Massa, as he got a thump from us as they bang tyres again through turn 2. And we'll get a good angle of the move Rosberg pulled on Ricciardo, I think. As you can see, yeah, Ricciardo does hit the wall. He's just about got away with it. And there's us coming out of nowhere around the outside, as we're just trying to avoid all these guys. And we then dive up the inside of Daniel Ricciardo. And we're now on the front wing of Felipe Massa, as we come into the chicane and get the move done. This is a replay of what happened with Rosberg. So we have the high ground, and we turned in on Rosberg as Ricciardo smacks into him. We cause a car park behind, and I honestly thought at the time I turned into Rosberg. The new hood on F1 2016 covers the right hand mirror, especially when you have the MFD open. But as I looked at the third person replay, I don't think it was my fault. At this point, we're turning into the corner. Rosberg is nowhere near us. We're hitting the apex, and Rosberg comes out of nowhere, hits our rear tyre, and spins us both out. So I don't know about you, and I'll be interested to see your point of view on this accident in the comments. This isn't like China. In China, I thought that was mostly our fault at the first corner there. But I don't think this is our fault. Rosberg wasn't anywhere near us. We've turned into the corner. We're just on the apex, and Rosberg stuck his nose in out of nowhere. I mean, what does he expect? How are we supposed to? I don't know. I don't think that's our fault at all. I think that's Rosberg's fault. But we'll just have to see as we now have a safety car out in this race. We're on lap 3 now, and the safety car's been out for a lap or so. Now, but we cut at the end of lap 4. The safety car is coming in. We've jumped the pack at the safety car restart, but we don't know where to brake because our racing line's all over the place with the yellow flag. So all the time we gained off the restart, we've actually lost at the chicane. But now we're at the end of lap 5. 1 lap later, we're under pressure now from Daniel Ricciardo, who's actually passed Nico Rosberg at the hairpin, as everyone behind us is going much quicker at the moment as we now go up the inside into turn 1. And we're so nervous about doing a repeat of what happened with Rosberg. We haven't seen the replay at this point, and we leave too much space at the inside of turn 2. And Daniel Ricciardo, our teammate, takes the lead. And of all the people to do that to, Ricciardo was not the one we wanted to do it to. He's our teammate. We have an inter-team battle, and we don't want to be giving him the high ground as the number 1 in this Red Bull team, as we're now having to defend from Felipe Massa, who then fell down the field quite significantly, actually, as all these other guys got up to speed. Rosberg's going around the outside into the chicane. He's got the move done, but we're going to get the switch back, the much better traction. He does have DRS. We have rich mix and a quick car in a straight line with our setup. We have the inside line. We go back up the inside, and we make sure we run him out of road on the exit of turn 1 to make sure we hang on to the position this time, as now Rosberg is going to try around up the inside now at the start of lap 10. We've gone wide through turn 1. Rosberg's gone around the outside of turn 2. We almost banged tyres, but we've got much better traction on the exit of turn 2. We have the high ground now. We will have the inside line going into turn 3. As we go up the inside, Vettel right behind us. Rosberg, though, hangs it around the outside. We bang tyres on the exit of turn 4. We miss the wall on the exit as well. We're still side by side with Rosberg as we now go into the next chicane. We're so close to touching side pod to wheel. We hang on to second place, but Rosberg gets such good traction on the exit, and he's taken second place away from us in this race. We're now defending from Vettel as we now need to try and re-hunt Nico Rosberg, but we decide to bail and come into the pits, just about slowing down for the pit marker at the end of lap 10. So we're going to go on to a set of soft compound tyres. The tyre wear in this race has been horrific. Even with the safety car, we didn't manage to get to our recommended pit lap. That's how bad the tyre wear has been. I mean, I admit I'm someone who has really bad tyre wear. I just push the tyres too far. I'm not good at saving the tyres. The tyre wear test is pretty evident in that. But the tyre wear in this race was a lot higher than expected, and it's not going to help if we do stupid things like that by taking too much exit speed on the hairpin. So we now go up the inside of Lewis Hamilton on lap 12. It took us 2 laps to catch up to the pack as everyone's starting to make their pit stops now. Hamilton, in fact, did the undercut on us, so that's why he was in front of us. But we now got past him, and now on the same lap, we're going up the inside of the turn 10 hairpin, up the inside of both Renaults. I think Jolyon Palmer has in fact been taken by Lewis Hamilton, and yes, he has, as now on lap 13 we're hunting down Sergio Perez. We're going up the inside. We've dive bombed a Ferrari and Fernando Alonso as we take a points position back in this race. We're up into 10th place, as here's a replay of that. It was a mega dive bomb. 3 places, 1 corner, no contact apart from Vettel and Alonso getting a bit sideways on the exit of turn 10. As now we're up against Felipe Massa, my nemesis from online racing, and he's squeezing us into the pit wall. Felipe, baby, stay cool, man. As we go up the inside into turn 1 and take 9th place. We're now going up the inside of Esteban Gutierrez into turns 6 and 7 as we take 8th place as we now get in Grosjean, I think, on the same lap. We get very close to hitting Nico Rosberg. We've gone too deep into turn 10. Grosjean will get the better line, but we have much better traction with our wider line. He's squeezing us and making contact with us. Roman, man, that is not cool, kid. That is not cool. As we take 7th place, we're up into 6th place now in this race as a few others are making their pit stops. Rio Haryanto, in fact, who had a great race in Monaco until his DNF, is holding up Rosberg, a treat for us. Can we dive up the inside into turn 6? Yes, we can. We have the inside line. We've gone wide onto the marbles there, and Rosberg holds on to 5th place for now. We're going to get good traction though. We're just letting Nico Rosberg know we're there. We need to capitalise. Remember in Spain, we were in a great position like this, but we couldn't pass Rosberg. This is going to be different. He is our rival, let's not forget. We need to beat him. He'll probably set a faster lap than us, so we need to beat him. We go up the inside into turn 10, and we have 5th place in this race, although he is still there on our left-hand side. And who's going to get the DRS here? It looks like we are, but so is Nico Rosberg, because he was behind Haryanto. We now have the quicker car in a straight line. We have the inside line. Maybe we don't have the quicker car in a straight line, but we are, however, better on the brakes. We throw the hand up in frustration at our championship rival, and we take 5th place in this race. And now Daniel Ricciardo, our teammate who was storming this race, has had an engine failure. He's out of this race, and yet again, we can't seem to get a good 2-car finish for Red Bull, as we seem to have picked up a bit more front wing damage now. Somewhere in that stint, I think battling through back markers, as now on lap 23 we're under pressure from Nico Rosberg. I've made the conscious decision that the tyre wear is so bad, as you would have seen in the last graphic, that the tyres aren't going to go to the end. So on lap 25 we decide to bail. We're going for a 2-stop. We're putting on a set of super soft tyres. It's the first time this season we are using all 3 compounds of tyre in a race, which is what that trophy is for in the top left hand corner. We are going to fall down into 10th place, so whatever happens now, we are going to get points. But I will tell you that Hamilton and Vettel, as Bottas is now out of the race, Hamilton and Vettel have already clocked onto this about a lap before I did, that a 2-stop is the way to go in this race. And they have already pitted, and we have stayed ahead of Hamilton, but Vettel has in fact jumped us and is ahead of us up the road, as we're now going up the inside of Fernando Alonso. All these guys are pretty much on, we're on the freshest tyres in the field at the moment, as a few more guys are starting to clock on that a 2-stop is the way to run this race. It's now Massa is being held up by Sainz. Sainz, who led this race for quite a long while. He started on the softs. I think he's now on the ultra softs. So he is going to be a contender. I can tell you at the moment, Daniel Kvyat leads this Grand Prix, having started on the softs and then going to the super softs. Nico Rosberg is second. Rosberg was right, Kvyat came out from his pit stop right behind me and Rosberg because we were holding him up, and he's now passed Rosberg as we now go up the inside of Carlos Sainz, the start of lap 29, up the inside into turn 1. We take 6th place. Now the 2 Ferraris are up ahead. Vettel's got through, and now Hülkenberg and Raikkonen are going side by side into the final chicane alongside the Wall of Champions. We push Hülkenberg kind of past Kimi Raikkonen, and we're now right behind Nico Hülkenberg as we start lap 31. We're running out of laps in this race, and we need to close down the podium runners. Kvyat still leads from Rosberg, and Vettel is now the 3rd place man. We're up into 4th place, and now at the start of lap 34 there's a car in the pit lane. Please let it be Rosberg. Please let it be Rosberg. It is Nico Rosberg. We take 3rd place in this race. We are going to get a podium. Hopefully we're going to get our podium. Hamilton is hunting us down, but our rival and our championship rival he was going to take points off us. He's actually not going to do it now. We're going to gain points on Rosberg in the championship, as now we're having to defend from Hamilton. But Daniel Kvyat wins the Canadian Grand Prix. Daniel Kvyat in the Toro Rosso wins the Grand Prix here in Canada, as we're now being passed by Hamilton on the final lap into the final corner. We go back up the inside into the final chicane. No prisoners, a mega dive bomb. We take back 3rd place, and we are going to finish on the podium here in Canada. And that was a great drive from us, and it's a well-deserved podium in this race.
A great win then for the Toro Rosso team today. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
I think we'll chalk this one up to a deft touch on the brake pedal. That's allowed them to challenge down the inside into the braking zones, and ultimately, if you do that often enough, you end up winning the race. It was great to watch as well though, wasn't it? Forget strategy, forget tyre management. Who doesn't love a good old-fashioned scrap?
And look at this, they're coming out now. Toro Rosso have developed something of a reputation for forging exciting talent, and we can see that here. An incredible victory. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Our current points leader extends their lead at the top of the championship after a very good result here today. And now I'd like to ask you, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
My driver of the day, Crofty, was Danny Kvyat.
So, the 2013 GP3 champion, Daniel Kvyat, having been dumped down from Red Bull in place of us for this season, has gone and taken a sensational victory here in Canada. His teammate got a podium in Spain. He's gone one better here in Montreal. And certainly giving the middle finger to Dr. Helmut Marko over being dumped down into the baby sister team. We've got we haven't. We've got third. Vettel took second from a good strategy. The three people who stopped early for a two-stop, in fact, got it. Apart from Kvyat, we were the highest place finishes. Rosberg pitted for a late stop. It dropped him all the way down to 8th. Not very good. Rio Haryanto had an exceptional race. As you can see, he got up to 12th, just missing out on points. As you can see in the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull are still leading the way. Mercedes would have overtaken us because of Ricciardo's DNF, but didn't, because Rosberg pitted at the end. So thankfully that's been good for us. Toro Rosso have jumped up with another podium position of points. In the Drivers' Championship, there wasn't much movement. We, in fact, extended our lead at the top because Rosberg is still in second place. So that's been a good race for us. Although Vettel has closed the gap by about 3 points, I think it is. It's nothing major. And it looked like we were going to lose a huge chunk of points. Ricciardo should have won that race. He was going to win it. I don't think Kvyat's strategy would have been enough to stop Ricciardo because he was miles out in front. So I really did feel for Daniel Ricciardo there. He was dominant in qualifying. Here's our resource points from that race. 199. We're not going to be able to afford a upgrade, I don't think. Another one to bring, but we'll just bank up these resource points. I think we're going to save up for either a downforce or a chassis weight upgrade to bring to the car. Next, in terms of the rivalry, though, it's been a fantastic race because we beat Rosberg all over the place because he never had a chance to set a lap time on the ultra softs at the end. So we actually, on the super softs, beat his fastest time. So we are now leading the rivalry yet again. So this has been a great rivalry we've got with Nico Rosberg, and I really am feeling that rivalry on the track as we are now fully cementing ourselves in the first driver, the purple section, for being the first driver at Red Bull. So hopefully we can get our promotion soon, so we can get that 25% increase in resource points, which we could really use with just to bring us a bit closer to Mercedes and Ferrari, as we now have a voicemail, I think, on our phone.
Hi, Emma here. I had a sit down with the executives today to talk about your progress. Long story short, they're happy. Keep it up.
Ah, we're so close. We're so close to getting a promotion, so that'll be good. Although I do feel for Ricciardo because he's had a couple of races where things just haven't gone his way in terms of either strategy or DNFs. So, you know, I don't think that our position in the championship really reflects the racing. We haven't really battled each other properly on track yet. We haven't battled for a race win yet, so we have a new trophy in our trophy room. And look at that for statistics in terms of podiums and race wins to the number of starts we've had in Formula One. It's been an exceptional start to this season. And that's a third of the season done already, guys. A third of the season's done already. It's been a good third. We knew this races at the start were going to be strong for us, as will those in the final third. The next series of 7 races is going to be tough. It's going to be a slog. Not a lot of good tracks for us. So it's all about defending our championship lead. So until next time, guys, I'll see you in Azerbaijan. It's goodbye from me, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
And you make me feel like a rebel.